Topeka, Kansas, and I was educated in grade school and high school by the Sisters of Charity of Leavenworth. They are members of the Vincentian family. I wasn't aware of it at the time, but I learned it later on in my life, and I'll get back to that. When I graduated from high school, I went to the seminary in Denver at St. Thomas Seminary, which was run by the community, by the Vincentians. That was my first introduction to a Vincentian, and I admired them and loved them and had fun with them as a college student. And toward the end of my college years, I decided that I wanted to join a religious community instead of the diocese where I was from. And so I joined the Vincentians at that point. 2 years maybe after my first or second year of theology school, I happened to be back in Topeka visiting my parents, and I ran into one of the sisters that had taught me in high school. And I told her, I said, I've joined the Vincentians. And she said, I'm not surprised, because we're Vincentian too. And then we talked a little bit about how the character of St. Vincent impacted her life as a sister of charity, and that I learned that even subliminally, if you will, as a kid being taught by those sisters. And so I was educated by Vincentian spirit, if you will, even before I recognized it or before I knew it. So it was an interesting observation that I made, that she helped me to see that I had developed at a young age a Vincentian heart and didn't really know it. I think that my vocation as a Vincentian, while it was solid, really was solidified, if you will, when I was pastor at St. Vincent's in St. Louis. During those years, and I think still today, the interaction with the poor is constant in that part of St. Louis. And so the opportunity, because of the meals program, et cetera, to get to know people, know their names and identify their faces, that made more than service, but that made love of the poor real in my life. And that was an important moment for me, to really feel like I loved these people, and in turn they loved me too. And we had our moments, as is always the case with ministry and with life in general. But it was a great learning moment for me, and a great, I think, ministry moment for me too, to develop that real love for the poor, and then allow that to shine through my work and my hands and my voice and all of those things. If a young man or young woman were considering to follow St. Vincent or St. Louise, I think that what I've learned is that it is critical, first of all, to have good relationships. Hopefully, the reason a young man or young woman is drawn to the Vincentians or to the daughters or to other religious life is because of a relationship that they've started, a relationship with a pastor or with a teacher or something like that. And that those relationships are important because they keep us sort of grounded, and if they are solid spiritual relationships, then that's a good grounding thing for us to grow from. So I'm grateful. For example, the example that I gave of one of the sisters that taught me in high school. We remained friends up until she died about 5 years ago, and up until then, I would go to Leavenworth to the Mother House and visit her at least every other year or so, because that grounded relationship was so important to who I became. And so I think that relationships are very important. It's also, I think, very important to ask oneself, am I able to live the kind of life that can love the poor? The poor are not easy to love, But if I'm a Vincentian, if you want to be a Vincentian, you've got to learn how to love the poor. And that's an important question to ask yourself. Can you love the poor?